I would always say is that if you are going to have a relationship, do it outside of work, keep it outside of work, don't tell anybody about it at work, and that's your personal life.
People are going to know about it. People hang out. Yeah. There's always all these barbecues after work. There's different mingling things. Work is not just such an isolated place. There's
have
culture,
some self-control,
so
Jen.
Yeah, people know. Your wife
have some self-control at work, right?
Your wife, Julie. I don't mean people know what you're doing because you're doing it on the desktop. What I mean is people know about your extra relationships. You were saying don't bring it into work. Well, you have a wife. Her name is Julie.
Sure.
People know Julie. They've met her where you work, right?
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
You can't really avoid that. Now, to back that up, what about people that are married and entering a workplace together? What about starting a business with people? You can't separate your relationships from work these days.
That is a great point.
Well, none of it would be allowed in my company.
How are people supposed to meet? Most people meet at work these days. A lot of people that are married, they're together, they've met at work, they've met through, working in the office together. How do you expect people to get together?
Have you heard of a bar or church or sporting activities or see the person? Let's say it was you and Alex.
Yeah.
And you guys fought.
Very nice.
And we're on the same project here. You know how weird it's going to be for Aaron and I to see that you guys fought?
Let me tell you something,
line
James.
of work. We wouldn't be like at work.
I don't know.
James, let me tell you something.
Doesn't make out on the job.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, the pressure from clients, is that needed as well? Drinking with clients, does that help you increase?
Clients is different because you're kissing their ass a little bit. Like, frankly, if a client calls me and says they want to have a drink for me to sell them a huge PR package, I'm meeting them at the bar and having happy hour.
What if it's
all the time.
It's like, hey babe, I'd like to meet you for a drink.
Then I will meet him for a drink. Not at his home, but I will. But I will meet him for a drink because that's part of our culture. And that brings up a whole nother area whether alcohol leads to drunk flirtation or not. But honestly, almost every place I've ever worked, there's been an element to drinking. I worked at one place where every Friday at about 3 o'clock, the boss said, "Working time's over. Everyone in the office is drinking."
Did you feel obligated?
Yes, and I'll tell you, even though I enjoyed it, I'm like kind of a party girl at work, so I had fun. I was like, oh my God, the boss wants us to drink at work. Awesome.
Best place to work.
Yeah, best workplace ever. But there were days that I was tired. I had things to do. I had obligations later on. I just didn't want to drink at 3, but I felt like I had to.
Let me ask you,
relationships that would cause a fight. What about straight up just sex at work? What about 2 people after work at happy hour getting it on?
For a sexual harassment suit.
What's wrong with the little sexual harassment?
And your shareholders are gonna love that.
I'm telling you, work would be. Listen, for me, work would be a little bit boring without sexual harassment.
Have you had sex in the workplace, Jen?
Have I had sex physically in my workplace? No, I have not. Have I had sex with someone who I work with?
Yes.
Yes. Have I had sex with pretty much at every job I've ever had?
She was going to say many people.
Well, I have had sex with people where I've worked. But I mean, so many companies do send people to conventions in Vegas. They send 200 employees. They booze them up.
Jen, how do you feel though?
Expect them not to hook up.
It's a function.
How do you act as an employer if you know people are dating in your workplace? Do you acknowledge it and offer some sort of support? Because relationships can be very sticky. We have to all realize that. Sure. How do you deal with that from a business owner standpoint?
You probably have to establish some sort of clear lines, which I'm sure somewhere as a business owner and from a legal standpoint, you guys know more about that. But I assume that an employer can't really. Can they tell you that you can't date somebody at work? That you absolutely can't.
Well, like one of the
you have to act like an adult, no matter where you are.
Match.com.
James, but you're responsible for acting like an adult no matter where you are, no
and
matter what happens. So if you happen to be sleeping with somebody you work with or sleeping with everyone you work with, because I don't care, do whatever you got to do, it doesn't necessarily reflect on you as an employer, as an employee.
Well, you know what? I think there are divisions.
Wow, that is totally wow. I can't even believe these people are sleeping with anybody else.
I just think those out there that did not want people to have sex in the workplace are just not getting any themselves. That's the problem.
That's a big part of it, though.
Well,
what's going on in today's?
People are working longer hours. You don't go to work 9 to 5 anymore, or else you're a slacker. People are working all day. They're working through the weekends. They're working very close with people on projects. If you expect people to spend all their time together, then you have to sort of reward them with some sort of expectation of them developing relationships. Basically, when you work long hours with everybody at work, someone's going to start doing it. So do you think that people can't get ahead in work if they don't choose to be part of the whole social working thing? I mean, is it possible that you can still, get ahead and be promoted without getting hammered with the boss?
Absolutely. I don't.
I don't trip him up right. I don't want to trip you up right here, but you said it is possible, right? So if it is possible to get ahead without drinking with the boss, then who cares if the boss is drinking with people? Although, let's say it was just us. Right now, we do this show together. Right now, after the show, we might want to blow off some steam, have a few beers.
Sure.
We wouldn't, excommunicate somebody who wouldn't drink with us, but how would they really bond effectively?
Well, no, I think that it's okay to excommunicate them. It's like this. It's like me saying,
You think
hey,
it's okay
it's
to
totally
not-
okay. It's okay. You know what? It's not my problem that somebody else wants to be a teetotaler. I don't care. If they don't want to do it, it's not my problem. It's like me saying, hey, do you want to go to a sports game? You're like, I hate sports. And I'm like, okay, I won't bond with you. I'm not going to have the connection with you. I'm not going to refer business
But
to
then
you.
are they
That's simple.
So that's what I was going to say.
So it's not my problem.
They're not your boy at work anymore. You won't refer
They're
business
not my
to them.
boy.
So
They're not my
At what point? I think we're hitting a very, very core message. Is at what point does that employee feel like they have to go do it?
I've worked at a place personally where I knew the male boss there would take out some of his underlings there, and they felt obligated, or else they wouldn't get promoted. And sure enough, the people who drank with him got promoted.
Totally.
And so I was like, I got to become one of the boys. So I learned how to shoot whiskey and hang out, and it was a pressure.
Jen, I didn't realize that women felt so pressured to drink with guys.
I was like, I got to become one of the boys. So I learned how to shoot whiskey and hang out, and it was a pressure, but I could see how the people that worked there who did not want to drink were in a really bad position. Like, I took advantage of it, but that sucks for the people that don't want to drink.
But I see that as an essential key for business, and here's why.
Why?
Because people are such bad conversationalists until they get hammered.
Speak for yourself.
And then they're genius. You're like, oh my God,
Alex,
I've never heard this guy
wait
so
a
bad.
minute. People need to drink to speak.
Because
Yes,
because of your weaknesses,
I get dumber, they get smarter, it works out better.
because of certain weaknesses in people, you're saying that the alcohol
Strengths, okay.
makes it a strength.
why
Yeah,
are you
so all of a
hiring
sudden it's
people that
okay.
can't speak,
Well,
you
so
know?
now all of a sudden, where do you draw the line? So now
Yeah.
I'm not a an energetic person, so but hey, maybe cocaine gets me. I mean, where do you draw the line
Well,
there,
because see,
Alex?
the difference is
it's legal or not legal. Sure.
Well, oh no, not just there's legal, not legal, but I think with coke, I'm afraid the guy's gonna try to kill me.
Plenty of other productive
That's a
things.
little
No,
sarcastic.
I know. The
Jen.
reason why I'm being sarcastic is because on one hand, I completely see how it's awful for somebody who doesn't drink, how they can get left behind, and how that's just really unprofessional to expect somebody to have any sort of substance in their body to fit in. But on the other hand, I totally understand that it's almost a tradition. In many different environments, that's what you do. You drink with your boss, you bond, you go. That's what happy hour is invented for people to blow off steam. That's why happy hour starts at 5 o'clock on Monday.
Fine.
So you're
Let me
calling
ask-
people like
but-
drinkists, like racists, but they're drinkists instead?
What, you know what? That's actually a pretty good term.
One place I worked actually pretty much forced you to join their volleyball team. And they had a volleyball team. They did 2 days a week. And I'm like, I hate volleyball. I don't want to play volleyball. And it was like, you didn't have to do it, but nobody there didn't do it. That's kind of what I equate the drinking thing to. So it's not necessarily just about the alcohol. It's about forced to be part of an environment that you just don't like in order to be part of the group activity.
This is wow. We got some great responses there, and some people agree with us, some people disagree with us, and I don't know. We don't even agree.
Culture. It's part of our people. It's part of who we are.
But does that mean that a corporation or somebody who's kind of policing these things should have a vested interest in not having their employees drink together after work? They could be sued?
But I think there's a fine line they have to weigh. Are you going to go for team building, or are you going to go for, let's just all be safe and all be happy?
Do you also, I kind of don't buy necessarily that it really builds teams. I think that's my whole problem listening to all this here. I mean, I understand you bond, you become
but wait, what do
boys
you do with your
people,
friends?
but how do you really actually build a productive environment that helps your work move forward?
Okay, well, wait. When you want to bond with your friends, what do you do?
We have a pillow fight.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
No, we drink.
What do you
We
wear
drink.
when you do that?
No, we drink. I'm just
Okay.
being.
All right, you drink.
Yeah,
Why?
honestly.
Why?
Because we're having fun, but I don't
And
think.
because
it's fun, but I don't think we're doing anything necessarily productive. Plus, I'm with my friends, not my coworkers, and my friends and I are trying to blow off steam, not trying to create an environment that's going to be productive.
Jen, I totally agree. Happy hours for blowing off steam and throwing down beer.
Not trying to create an environment that's going to be productive.
No, that's true.
But it's
I'm
a
saying
put-on
real.
salesperson. If
I'm
it's a real
saying real.
personality, you'd be like, don't buy my crap, it's overpriced. It's never real when you're in sales. I find that tough to believe that the second you meet a client, you're showing them your true colors 100%, and that these people know you and how you are and the way you'd be when you let your guard
Well,
down.
let's
Well, I can tell you a different perspective is like in the so-called pink professions, when you're a woman, a lot of publicists, nurses, things like
I've
that.
never heard of that pink
You never heard that?
profession.
Pink
I don't know
professions are women are jobs that women have traditionally held.
Oh,
Those are also things that you don't have to drink. If you want to be a publicist, if you want to be a nurse, if you want to be a teacher, I was a teacher for a while. They don't really encourage you to go drinking after it. However, when I switched over into more male-oriented professions, when I was getting into real estate, and when I was taking the LSAT course and doing all those things, oh, you better believe I had to drink.
Thank you. It's a good old boys club, and you have to drink to get in it. That shouldn't affect your career.
You doing all those things, oh, you better believe I had to drink. So that was just an interesting thing. I think the old boys club mentality of certain places is kind of what does make it so you
So
have
are
to
you
drink.
saying that possibly it's a gender thing as well? That maybe
Yeah,
women,
oh, yeah.
when women are with women, they're not pressured to drink. But with women and men, the men pressure them to drink.
I think that's absolutely true, at least from what I've seen.
Wow.
And I think on top of it, at
that-
work, when you see the people that are
That
going
is
and getting hammered
completely
together.
unfair to blame men for that.
Oh, I'm not
That
blaming
is
men.
that is
Wait,
absolutely
wait,
ridiculous.
To give us credit, you might. Give us credit.
I have
Don't
had
put words in my mouth.
I have
I'm
had
not
women
blaming
bosses.
men.
I've had women bosses
Sure,
who
you've
do the
had
exact
them.
same thing to you.
Yeah.
They pressure, they put pressure to go out.
But
and
when you're
socialize
good looking
and
like
drink.
you, I mean, the woman bosses want
But wait, Aaron, I don't want to put words in my mouth and say that I'm saying that only men do it and it's a men evil thing. Because as I said before, I'm one of those chicks who will drink with people after work, and I love when I find another woman who will do that too. However, traditionally, it was kind of the male thing. It was the boys' club. It was the like, don't go home to your wife. She's a nag. Let's drink. I think more and more women are drinking. Statistically, more and more women are drinking, so it's changing.
And
But
more-
I think at work, it was
more
a
and more
male
women-
value to drink.
Guys, I have one last. Okay, Jen?
Personally, I would say make sure if you really don't want to drink that you very carefully articulate to your boss that you are not comfortable drinking at work, and make sure that it's obvious that you said that to them. And if they don't promote you or screw you over because of that, I'm sure you can sue them, right?